Welcome to a special episode of Little Wars TV. This week we'll be refighting a very recent battle, so recent that instead of black and white photos, we can show you color video. This is Fallujah in November 2004. Today our club is going to explore part of Operation Phantom Fury, a fierce engagement between US Marines and Iraqi insurgents for control of the city. Instead of our usual episode format, we're going to use an unscripted roundtable discussion between some of our club's military veterans. The four of us will talk about the lead up to the battle for Fallujah and what went wrong with the American military policy in the city. Woody is our club's most recent vet, having served 3 tours in Iraq, including time in Fallujah. He'll share some of his stories and then we'll discuss among ourselves if wargaming ultra-modern scenarios is uncomfortable for actual veterans of those conflicts. It is really a fascinating roundtable and an interesting discussion on why some may find modern wargaming distasteful or inappropriate. Of course, that won't stop us from setting up an incredible Fallujah tabletop packed with custom-made buildings where we'll play out an engagement between asymmetrical forces. I think it's one of the most elaborate, best-looking games we've run at our club, so stick around as our players try to rewrite history in Iraq, circa 2004.
Hello, my name is Chow. I served in the United States Marine Corps as an 0311 rifleman, eventually being attached directly to the headquarters unit working for the Sergeant Major and CO of School of Infantry before I was discharged in '91.
My name is Brian Beeks. I served in the United States Army as an M1 Abrams Armored Crewman. From 1992 to 96, I was stationed with the 1st Squadron, 1st U.S. Cavalry, the 1st Armored Division in Germany. And then after that, various National Guard units.
I'm Michael Woodward. I served with the 82nd Airborne from 03 to 05, including 2 tours in Iraq, 03 to 04 with the invasion. I went back for a short tour in 04 to 05. When I got off active duty, I joined the Pennsylvania National Guard like an idiot, and then I did a tour with them from 06 to 07.
Hi, I'm Josh. I was in the U.S. Army, 11 Mike, from 1989 to 96, then switched over to 1st Cav, and then went to 1st Gulf War in 1991, and got out and served in the National Guard with the 28th Infantry Division. So, what was the situation in 2004 Fallujah?
Well, I know that my unit was a part of securing Fallujah during the invasion. We rolled in. There was some light combat. They kind of melted away when we rolled in. The Marines that relieved us we viewed them as not aggressive enough, and they viewed us as too aggressive. And they took a lot of casualties because there was this weird mishmash of policies between commands of the 2 units, and then in the local city.
What was it? When was this in 2000?
This was during the invasion, shortly after the invasion. So.
Oh, this would have been 2003.
Yeah, 2003.
Okay.
And then by 2004, everything had changed.
What were the challenges that the Marines and the Army faced in that second battle?
Well, there's some big challenges. One that I can't stress enough is that they were trying to promote the American offensive that happens in the Second Battle of Fallujah as a war against Islam, and how they did this was by securing their munitions in mosques. And if you look at this battle, there were a number of mosques that were destroyed in Second Fallujah, specifically because the insurgents used them as munition store points. But more than that, they just had months to prepare defenses that may, some cases were left over from the first Battle of Fallujah. They bricked up stairwells from the top, as a counter to the American doctrine of taking the high level of a building and fighting their way down. I mean, you saw some of this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean
what was a typical building or a complex of structures look like?
Typically they're very plain. They'll normally be square to rectangular. They always have a courtyard with about a 6-foot wall around it, which allows them to move between cover without being seen. Most of the time they're set up almost like row homes. They're not individual family homes, so you can run across the rooftops. Typically 2 to 3 floors, and the stairwells won't have railings, which also works to their advantage. These guys that were there, all the dumb ones died early. So you have insurgents that were familiar from the invasion and the first Battle of Fallujah. Then you have all these foreign fighters pouring in, and these foreign fighters normally have years of experience. They're professional mujahideen. Your average American soldier at this time maybe has a year of combat experience.
Do you think the insurgents had any chance of winning this?
Tactically, no. I don't think so at all. We could use artillery, we could use all of our heavy weapon systems, which was not common in most of the post-initial invasion situations in Iraq.
And this was because of the fact that most of the civilian population had fled the city prior to Second Fallujah, which is why we were allowed weapons free.
So tactically that was an advantage for the U.S. Politically that probably didn't help us much.
Yeah, because the double-edged sword of that
Right.
is that the Marines on the tactical level said, okay, we're allowed to use lots of artillery. We are going to use it because that reduces Marine casualties. But it leveled buildings. So tactically the Marines can use that to win the battle, but after the battle's over, they've leveled 20% of the city. 20% of the city had to be rebuilt by the Americans out of American tax dollars.
And this is something I want to point out, just in case people aren't aware. I know you guys know, but I know not everybody knows. Mosques are protected under the Geneva Conventions. We're not to attack them. However, if you are in a sector where the mosque is now used for combat operations, all mosques in that area lose their protection. So all it takes is one sniper to fire out of a mosque, and now the mosques are no longer protected, and we're ready to open fire. We can open fire on them. So when the insurgents did this, they knew, because this isn't some sort of secret knowledge. They knew that as soon as they used a mosque as a weapon, or as a weapon storehouse, all mosques lose their protection, and that played into their strategy. That changed it from, look, it is a war on Islam. They're not just fighting us, even though we have munitions there, they're destroying our mosques. It is the war on Islam, which builds into that radicalism.
Yes, it fueled the fire.
I want to interject one more thing with that. Is it's not one insurgency. It's a number of different groups who are vying for political and military might within the insurgency abroad in Iraq. And so what happens is that some of these groups are able to claim a victory simply by fighting the Americans. And it gives them more support from the outside and from within Iraq. So from their perspective, even though I agree with Brian, there's absolutely no way that they can tactically win. Politically, some of those factions came out stronger, even though they were tactically defeated.
So that brings us to the question, guys, of modern wargaming and how comfortable you guys feel when you've served time in the military, you've been in combat, you've been out there, and now you're kind of repeating it again on the tabletop. What do you guys think of that?
I have no problem with it whatsoever. Yeah.
There's not a moral distinction of one being right or one being wrong. I mean, for me, I have a difficult time wargaming the first Persian Gulf War, what we call it, Desert Storm, Desert Shield. And I didn't fight in it, but that's why I have trouble gaming it. Because I feel, honestly, for me, I feel guilty because I should have participated in that conflict. A lot of Marines that I knew participated in that conflict, and I feel very, very strange about gaming it. Now, a fictional war like Cold War, 1989, 1990, that didn't actually happen, I have no qualms whatsoever fighting a game with that.
Wargaming modern stuff doesn't bother me at all. In fact, I find it kind of interesting because I get to be the bad guy. I get to be the insurgent. I also get to see, like when I play the insurgent, I have the knowledge that I have from being a U.S. soldier, and I'm playing against other U.S. soldiers, or Marines, sorry. I'm a soldier.
That's right. I'm not insulting.
Nobody's perfect.
So it's kind of interesting to see that. And then when I play against people who don't have combat experience and they're playing either side, it's always interesting to see where our biases are due to our experience and our training. Like,
yes, that is an interesting thing.
Like, we'll set up like, okay, they're going to come down this road. It's an MSR. They have to come down this road. So we'll focus all our forces there, and then it turns out these guys don't think about MSRs. Like, yeah, we're just going to go down every other road, and you're like,
Yeah, it doesn't bother me too much, but it does definitely bring back memories, and I find it also therapeutic and also fascinating to observe everyone else's behaviors. Some of those who were non-combat, they have a different perspective and come at the battle or the game at a different angle, and that's always fun to watch. But yeah, I mean, it's good to process all that stuff out, and I think wargaming can do that. The roundtable discussion goes on for much longer. If you'd like to check out the entire discussion, go to littlewarstv.com. Today, guys, we're going to be fighting the Second Battle of Fallujah. This is day 2 in November of 2004. The Marines have slept overnight in the buildings, and they are going to be picking up day 2 in their sweep through the Jolan district of northern Fallujah. The insurgent player will be attempting to stop their advancement.
I'm Dietrich Dellner. I'll be playing on the Marine side. I wore a t-shirt here to kind of get in the spirit of the mission.
We're going to be playing the Marines, and we're going to liberate Fallujah using high quantities of firepower.
I'm Wyatt. I'm playing as an insurgent, and I'm here to kick out these Marines.
Today we're going to be using Force on Force by Ambush Alley. It has an interesting rule mechanic that revolves actions and reactions by the opposing side. A little bit different. It leads to a more chaotic firefights. If you're interested in more details about the rules, check back next week for our rules summary video. Here at Little Wars TV, we like to have consequences for losing. Today's game stakes are going to be eating a 2004 MRE to the loser.
That one's not so bad. It's not a steak, but...
Yeah, so I'm a vegan, and as near as I can tell, this is probably vegan as well, this spicy penne pasta that's vegetarian, but it is 13 years old, and I'm assuming there's probably some sort of life form in there that would make it not vegan at this point.
Now it's time to break into teams and get their individual briefings. All right, guys, your mission is to clear the Jolan district of Northern Fallujah. You have to go building to building and clear as many buildings as you can in the 8-turn limit. For resources, you're given a Marine rifle squad and 2 headquarter fire teams. You have off-board resources of 198 howitzers for artillery. And you have a UAV, which you can use in the beginning of the game to detect any hidden units.
So, again, one of the advantages we have here is we can apply all the firepower we need, which normally I'm a big fan of maneuver over firepower, but in this situation, firepower is going to win for us. And I think we should stick together. I don't think like splitting us up and one guy, one guy working each corner.
I think that's the advantage of Marines is concentration of firepower and better support.
And
cohesion.
I think we should start down in this corner, everybody down in this corner, because there's wide open field there, no go. The mosque is in the middle, we can't shoot at it till they shoot at us from that. Wide open space is very, very bad. Basic plan is we're going to concentrate on the east side of the table. We're going to use our overwhelming firepower to keep our guys as safe as possible as we move. Definitely not going to spread out. Firepower is going to win this game for us.
And if anybody wants to shoot at us from across the city, that makes them artillery targets.
Can I point out that under body armor it just says LOL?
Alright guys, you guys got your work cut out for you. You get 5 IEDs to deploy. You have 2 small door IEDs, 2 medium roadside IEDs, and 1 large house IED. You have a hidden roadblock to deploy. The way you win this game is to inflict as many casualties as you can. You gain victory points for each kill, each casualty, each destroyed vehicle, or each captured U.S. Marine.
But Woody, I highly doubt that they're going to come down that road. You know, like I just feel like they think that something's going to happen coming down that main road, because that does seem like a main access point. If anything, I feel like they come down this way thinking that we wouldn't expect them to.
They're not going to want to come here because of open ground. There's not enough cover there.
Here and then run.
That are just like standing there pointing.
Either here or here. I don't know which one would be better.
The whole house IED?
I would do that, yes.
Yeah, that's almost definitely going to be the one that they're going to want to try to use as they come across that mosque. Because I agree, they're going to try to take the mosque.
Chow, Woody, and my son Wyatt finally end their debate and place 5 IEDs on the table, including a medium IED car bomb near the mosque. And then, the quiet before the storm in the streets of the Jolan district. The Marines open their turn advancing deeper into the neighborhood. They encounter a small group of Chow's insurgents, but overwhelming Marine firepower clears out the first building. Feeling a bit spooked by this initial resistance, Dieter and Brian immediately turn to their heavy artillery. They level an entire city block. The Americans are feeling pretty good about themselves until Dieter wonders if there might be an innocent civilian under all that new rubble.
Artillery strike on turn 1 probably wasn't the best idea. I misunderstood some of the game mechanics. So we destroyed some buildings possibly with civilians in there. But so far so good. This has been going about how I thought it would go.
Yeah. And we don't know what was in there. It could have been the right thing to do for maybe not the right reason, but
yeah.
The insurgents did not have any hidden fighters in that block, but they continue to secretly maneuver their teams on a laminated map using dry erase markers. The Marines hunker down a bit on turn 2 when sniper fire from across the table forces them to take cover. Dieter orders a fire team to a nearby rooftop to provide suppressing fire. Life for the Americans gets more interesting at the start of turn 3. A small group of Iraqi civilians walk out of the mosque and approach Dieter's Marines. But are they really civilians? The debate on the American side is almost non-existent.
Probably in this environment, yeah.
Yeah, I'm firing.
Like we're telling them, like,
And I'm getting footage of a war crime.
The insurgent team reacts by deploying a hidden suicide bomber out of the civilian crowd. Now we have to roll off and see who wins the reaction test, whether or not the vest goes off or not. Who
shoot
wins?
the rocket.
6.
1.
Awesome.
So they win the reaction, which means the vest does not detonate, and his Overwatch team now can fire upon that unit, that guy. But now listen, this is the deal. You're within 4 inches of that civilian crowd. There's a chance that you're going to inflict civilian casualties if you fire on that unit.
Did he hold up a sign that says my vest did not detonate, or is he still moving?
Something I thought was interesting about that was the mechanic where the game master did not allow, even though you wanted to shoot at them before they clacked the vest, the game master would not have let us do that until they tried to detonate the vest. Makes sense, I suppose.
Yeah, it makes sense, and like I'm not treating this as a role-playing game, but I'm also doing what I think people in a firefight do, which is if a group of civilians leaves a safe zone and comes at you without their hands displayed, you probably don't treat them like civilians.
Assuming you're also yelling at them to stop.
Yes.
As the game reaches the midway point, Dieter's quick trigger finger has neutralized the suicide bomber, and the insurgent players try to push additional fighters towards the front lines. It's been a tough start for them.
Okay, so a lot of things haven't worked real well for us. I'm hoping since the failed suicide bomber emerged from the civilian crowd that one Marine player loses his cool and decides to shoot into a mob.
Yeah, I'm hoping our IEDs work better because we've tried to detonate 2 and neither of them have worked.
Hopefully we can perfect that L shape and get our units from the back and really reinforce what we have.
That was a good move on your part of coming down and forming that little leg of the L. And
because I still have units in the back that I'm trying to move up, and I haven't done that yet, but I'm working on that.
We need one casualty. One casualty.
Yeah.
The insurgent players know they'll receive major victory points for inflicting even 1 Marine casualty, so they stop going toe-to-toe with the Marines on turn 5. Instead, use their advantage of stealth and hidden movement. Wyatt patiently sneaks a team of veteran Syrian fighters along the market plaza. You have 4 guys with an LMG.
And -1 firepower because of previous fire.
-1 for the previous fire.
So it'd be 4 dice.
So you got 4 dice.
So you had 4 in your hand, right?
You got to beat 2 5s and a 6. In a surprising turn, the Marines lose the firefight, and one of Dieter's teams suffers not 1 but 2 casualties. The insurgents are thrilled.
Okay, so my small team's been hit by some high-quality insurgent troops. They're throwing D10s instead of D6s, so they're obviously better trained and have more experience than the rest of the insurgents on the table. I took a light wound and a heavy wound.
The insurgent pressure keeps coming when Chow moves fresh fighters into a tall apartment building where he can put a crossfire on Dieter's battered team. The Americans respond by doing what they do best, calling in heavy artillery to obliterate Wyatt's Syrians in the open. This time, with no risk of civilian casualties. It's a devastating strike. A pickup truck of fresh insurgents races into the neighborhood only to be ripped apart by Brian's waiting Marines, who have now managed to clear 2 additional blocks. With the insurgents running out of steam, the Marine Blackhawks swoop in to signal the end of the game and the successful sweep of this neighborhood in the Jolong district. Okay, we are at the end of the second Battle of Fallujah here at Little Wars TV, and we have a winner. We have declared that the United States Marines have won the day. with overwhelming number of victory points over the lowly insurgent player. So it looks like you guys are eating MREs.
Yeah, I've eaten them before.
Cheater.
It all went wrong when the IEDs failed.
Yeah. We had a turn, and we actually dropped the ball though too. There was a turn where if we would have coordinated movements, we could have overwhelmed them on our right flank. But somehow, I don't remember us actually talking about it. And
No, I don't.
We missed it.
I don't think it occurred to any of us at all.
We had a moment of greatness and that quickly faded.
Yeah,
Very quickly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, because this wasn't just a loss. This was a huge loss.
Yeah, this just went all downhill so quickly.
Man, it's really tough being the insurgent because you're so much lower quality. I don't want to fight anybody with off-board artillery.
Well, that's true
That was
too.
devastating.
I don't think we pushed the pace to get buildings cleared the way we thought we were going to when we were making our plan. But once we engaged,
Yeah, the insurgent players, they kind of, yeah, they played right into our hands. They attacked us. They came out and came at us. That's a losing formula when you're overdiced like they are in this game with this mechanic. They played right into our hands.
Menu 14, spicy penne pasta, vegetarian, out of Cincinnati, Ohio, circa 2004.
Good year for MREs.
Sausage crumbles, that doesn't sound vegetarian to me.
Penny with vegetable sausage crumbles and spicy tomato sauce.
Orange flavor, no fruit. Crackers, carrot pound cake, and raisins.
There should be peanut butter or something in here too. I've done this before. Yeah.
Ah. What year is it again? 2017? So these are like, what, 13 years old? I don't think I'm hungry enough today to slit this thing open and lick the inside of it, but
At least I don't think they are, but
They smell pretty good.
around 2004 is when they really started trying to make good menus.
I miss the maple nut cake, man.
What's the best? What's the best?
Oh, I thought you jumped right to raisins. I'm like, they're gonna taste like raisins.
What is that?
It's gonna be pound cake. It's gonna be good.
It does not look good.
It doesn't look good at all. It does not look healthy.
I hope you leave that shot in because I can see the camera shaking as you're
There's
laughing.
no way. What is that? Is this meant to be still good? Like,
Yes.
It's meant to.
Guys, quit being girls.
It's dry. Holy crap.
It's a 13-year-old pound cake.
It's dry.
He's expecting fucking Sarah Lee out of bed.
It doesn't taste bad. Before it was dry, I'm having trouble swallowing.
It actually tastes pretty good.
I have a British one that's fantastic. That looks. It's just a cracker, man.
Anybody want peanut butter on theirs?
Yeah, well,
Look at that. See,
Oh.
I'm part. I feel bad for you guys losing.
Crackers are so old. This is so old.
get it in.
Even Brian's going in.
Guys, this is major flashback. I'm having a major flashback.
You know what's sad?
I haven't tasted that taste in 15 years.
That's why I got out of the army when I did. Just stuff. We had room for things.
Until somebody shot him off.
2004.
Yeah, what?
What a year to be
event
alive.
Except they were all vegetarian.
Yeah, because
Yeah. No, it was their.
the gum isn't right.
Some genetic mutation happened in the gum. Some mutation.
It's like
happened.
hard.
Yeah,
It's like it's not chewy. It's just like hard. All right, thanks for watching this episode of Little Wars. If you found it entertaining and want to see some more, subscribe and wait for the next episode.
If you would like to see how we made one of these buildings for today's battle, go to our bonus video next week on littlewarstv.com.